Hey, it's Chris from Hale Guitar Studio. Welcome. Today we're going to be looking at this Fender Lead II guitar, originally from the 1980s. This is a reissue part of the Fender Player series. It comes stock with two single coil pickups, switched with this interesting switching system to make them out of phase, so you get a much lower output from the middle selection. But we're going to put a humbucker in the bridge, select it for split humbucker and try and go for a more of a funk sound in the middle. We're then going to put new strings on, set the thing up, and it's ready to go. Let's get cracking. Okay, so let's get these strings off. So these Fender Lead IIs, they were originally a CBS era guitar in the 1980s, the early 1980s, but Fender reissued them as part of the Player series, a Mexican guitar, and this one's from 2020, so what, 4 years old now. And all we're going to do is, apart from giving it a good clean and a setup, it's got some petroleum jelly around the nut and on the bridge, so we're going to clean that all off, take this peeling bit of plastic off. But it's got these toggle switches. That's a selector switch, and this splits, or no, actually at the moment it puts it out of phase, but we're going to use that. We're going to replace this pickup with this Seymour Duncan humbucker, and then use this to split the humbucker with the intended outcome of getting a bit of a funky sound when we split the humbucker in the middle position, but then also giving that humbucker option when that pickup's selected. So first things first, get the strings off. As I say, I'm just going to cut the nasty sharp ends off. And cutters will never quite cut 6 strings, but they'll manage 5. Right, pull the strings through. That's it, off. And I think what I'm going to do is give this a clean before I do anything else, so that we've got a nice sparkly guitar to start working on. Then we'll get the pick guard off, do the wiring, get it restrung up and go from there. Right, okay. Cleaning and cloth. Here we go. Okay, that's the guitar clean. We're now going to remove this pick guard so we can get to the electrics. Right, okay, so I do like it when guitar builders leave nice long leads on their ground connections. This is obviously the bridge ground to stop the hum being picked up by the strings, ground them out, and this is just a ground for the cavity paint, just to shield the inside of the electrics. And sometimes they're really short, and trying to, being able to just lay this down on here is wonderful. So I'm going to get this pickup out next, and we'll put this one in, and then we're going to start thinking about how to wire it. Now at the moment this pickup is wired to this switch, and it's all very complex because it's to put them out of phase to get that weaker middle sound when this switch is activated. So I'm going to have to wire this pickup straight to the volume output or switch, and this one will then, the new one will then be wired to the selector switch to allow it to be split, just to use one of the coils, not both of the coils. So here we go. So I'm going to fire up this soldering iron and just completely de-solder this switch, because nothing is staying. It's all coming off and being completely rewired. I'll need my Igor headset, thanks Lee, for identifying it looks like that. But it helps me see. And I'm just going to pop me bit of leather around the finish just for complete protection, so that I don't end up being disappointed with myself when I cause a scratch. That's it. Lovely. Right. Soldering irons up to heat. Right, which one's going to go first? I think you are. And right out of the way. Right, so I've desoldered this pickup from the phase switch as it was and reconnected it to the selector switch. I'm now just going to connect the ground from the pickup to the back of the pot. Fantastic, right. So, now this has got to come out. Right, next thing to do is to wire these up. So this is going to ground, green and bare. Black, I think he's going, yeah, that's the start of the north coil, so that's going to hot. And then red and white are going to be bound together and taken to that toggle switch, so that when the switch is flipped, the south coil is taken straight to ground. So we're just left with the north coil engaged. There we go. Look at that. Perfect length first time. Now, and the ends are a bit long really, but I'm going to tip them with a bit of solder, tin them with a bit of solder first, and then I'll trim them afterwards. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's quite likely the PVC sheath will burn back a little bit. This also gives me a chance to see if the actual core will take solder. Sometimes if the core's quite old, it gets a bit dirty and then it won't take the solder. And this one is misbehaving a little. Yeah, I don't like that. So I'm going to strip it a bit. And also make them the same length. There you go. Too thin, not gripping the wire. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. There you go. Right, here we go. See if this takes solder any better. Yeah, that's much nicer. Good, 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 good. So, I don't need long ends, so I'm going to trim you, your bulbous end, and that's already reasonably short. And then the hot output is just going to go to the other side of what is effectively a toggle selector switch. There we go. Right, let's give it a test. Right, so 6-in-line headstock. I quite like these tuners where you feed the string into the actual tuning peg. It's really tidy. So normally with a 6-in-line headstock, the tuners are closer together than a 3 either side. So I go up to the tuner I want, on 2, but with a feed through the top of the tuner. You need a little bit longer. So I'm going to take it to about there. And then we'll pop it down the hole in the centre. Pop it down the hole in the centre. Oh, it doesn't want to go in. There you go. Right. And grab the string winder. And then I'm going to pull it back and down and hold it with my index finger as I wind. And that way I get nice coils lapping underneath each other. And I'm aiming for 2 to 3 turns, just coming up to 3. There you go, it's on. Next one. Right, let's get this set up then. So, we're up to tune. Let's have a look at the neck relief. So cap on one end, feeler gauge 0.10 of an inch, and around the 7th or 8th fret, just looking for a touch of light over the top. And that is pretty good actually. Yep, I'm happy with that. In which case, now the string height on this was out, but it was quite high on the treble side. And I remember lowering it before when I did the assessment, just to see what it could tolerate. So it might be not far out now, but let's have a look. So on the bass side, we've got about 1.75, but I know that the owner likes their action reasonably low, so I'm going to dare to bring it down a bit to about 1.5. The next string's about the same, then 1.5, then 1.5, then coming down towards 1.25. I reckon I can come down a bit on that B string. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I do this as a bit of a rough guide as to where it can be, and then I'll take it to my sound desk and have a proper play and set it as low as the fretwork will tolerate without any buzz, making sure that when I bend the strings they don't start choking out. But that's pretty good where that is. So we've made a couple of little adjustments, so we'll bring it back up to pitch. And next we want the pickup heights, which are surely going to be out because I've put them down like a yo-yo. Much too high. And much too low. More like it. Very, very, very low. Roll this back to front. Okay. Happy where they are for the time being. And then intonation. Looking good so far. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so now let's plug into the amp. So now we've got, if I just get my tweezers, my all-purpose tweezers, now we've got neck, no bridge. That's the toggle switch. Volume, working nicely. Tone, working beautifully. So then in the middle position, still got this. Now, that should be full humbucker. No, it's not. That should be full humbucker. That's it. Right, okay. So I've wired it so that pushed back like a push pot is full humbucker, pulled forward like a pull pot is split. It's not a difficult change if the client prefers it that way. So we'll come back to the middle. We're going to test the humbucker first. So that's full humbucker, volume, tone, split. Beautiful. Right, so that's split. That's both. So then we come back into the middle. We've got all of them. And then pull to split. It's working how I intended it, which is perfect. Great. Okay, so take it to the desk next, give it a thorough testing out, get the strings set as low as I can without any fret buzz, and it's ready to go. Thanks for watching.